Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nashville Tour Stop podcast. Sitting across the living room from me today, Mr. Ryan Fine.
Hello, Aaron Schilb. How are ya?
Are you making fun of my radio voice?
No, I just wanted to see how it felt. I think this would be my version,
Yeah, I would love to hear.
but I'll settle in.
I would love to hear everybody's impression of my stupid radio voice because, like, when I
No, you
host the
don't.
shows, I definitely am doing a character.
Right. No, and well, it's what gets people's attention.
It does. Because if you walk up on stage and you're like, hey,
Normal. And then people are going to think like you're just a guy on the stage
Yeah.
drunk who's just like, hey,
what's up, guys?
you got to have authority.
Like, what's happening? It's like, he's supposed to do
He's
this?
supposed to be, yes, he's supposed to do this. You have to like be a wedding singer when you're like, hey, if you were in Kappa Delta Gamma, then head to the staircase for your picture to get taken, and like then people will actually go.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I feel
they'll be
I
like,
have to
"What the
do
fuck?"
that character because a lot of times people just don't pay attention. And I've gone to those rounds where I
Mhm.
see the host who's just kind of meh.
Yeah. Called out.
And you're
Who-
like,
who are you
if
thinking
the
of?
person who's in charge isn't excited, why should I be excited?
Right. You have to be entertaining.
Mm-hmm. We're in the
And
entertainment
we're
business.
entertaining right now. That's the goal.
If you're entertained, please write in an email.
Comment, I'm entertained
I'm
AF
entertained.
at whatever second.
Actually, Spotify has this cool new feature for podcasts where you can actually like comment on the episode and then it directly
Oh.
sends it to my email inbox. So
Oh,
I think that
whoa.
would be a cool way for like artists' fans to interact with artists.
Yeah.
Just if you like the song, you comment on the song on Spotify.
I hope there's some kind of filtering involved with that because, you know,
I think
what
we
people
need-
could say. Like, let's just spam up Aaron right now and you'll know what I'm talking about. Check your email,
yeah,
September
people are gonna
28th.
be like, well, I didn't feel a good thing coming.
Oh, yes. Good segue into my song. Called Good
Segue,
Thing.
and that was pretty smooth.
That was. Is that
Well-
your favorite song of mine?
You put that one out earlier this year, right? Or last year?
It's a whole thing. Some
A
of the
whole
songs have been out a while. Some of them are coming out soon that are all going to be on the same album. But I've been like a songwriter first, so that's always been the priority.
Cool.
So when it came to putting together an album, I just had my own. I didn't try to force it, and eventually it's gonna happen. But yeah, Good Thing may have come out in 2020 or 20.
That was
21.
like 12 years ago.
I know. Well, time is a dirty thing.
So I start all the episodes by asking the guest how we
Mhm.
met. Do you remember the tale
Yes, it was a long time ago
in a galaxy
And
far,
I-
far away?
in a galaxy so far away that it's like 3 blocks from here.
Yeah, 3
Not
blocks.
that you need to know where Aaron lives, but it is really close. Just kidding.
It was a joke.
It was a joke, or is it? Or is it kind of like a mid-level distance?
I think
No,
we should
it's-
just leave the ambiguity in there.
Yeah, we met at a bar because I was able to play a songwriters round. That's probably what I called it at the time.
The
A songwriting round.
Yeah.
A round of songwriter people. Yeah. So it was my first round ever, but it wasn't at Belcourt Taps. It was
Right.
somewhere else. And I asked you to join the bill because of like a mutual friend
Mhm.
said that you would have crushed it, and you did.
So
That's how we met. We played around together and
that
met
was
by
at the local?
yeah, it was at the local.
Gotcha.
But at the time, it was called Whiskey Row, right?
No, the Whiskey Rose Dirk Bentley's bar.
That's a
on
new
Broadway.
thing.
Whiskey Rhythm,
It was the Southern,
the Southern, the country.
the country.
I think.
Yeah, there's something so basic like that. I'm like,
Yeah, they all kind of.
there's no wonder they changed it. It was called the Country.
I'm pretty sure we've just named like 12 bars in Nashville.
Yeah, and they all have great music in them.
I would say most of them. Yeah.
Well, you're working on making sure every venue in Nashville, and I think you're going to work on the whole universe at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, your business has grown so much. It's amazing. And I got to be there before even you started it.
So we met in
It must have been 2018
2018.
or 2017.
So when did you move to Nashville?
That was the year I moved here,
In 2017.
2017.
What's your Nashversary?
My Nashversary must be on a hot frickin' day because I moved in on a hot day. The day I decided to try to do music.
So you grew up in Cincinnati?
Yes.
And did you start doing music up there just recreationally, or did you go to like music school?
Yes, and then I started doing it medicinally at some
Medicinally.
point. Yeah, I picked it up in high school. Bit of a late bloomer, but I was doing covers of Beatles songs with my friend Jeff. We're still
Okay.
best friends today. And I would play drums and
You played
key.
drums?
Yeah, that has been my main
What?
instrument. My dad was a professional drummer. He went to Berkeley and did the session scene in LA for a little bit,
I had
and
no idea.
he decided to take his talents into furniture.
So when did the keyboard start being part of your life?
Keyboard started being a part of my life my sophomore year of high school. I just
Okay.
wanted something I could sing to. Like I started getting some confidence with our creatively named group, Ryan and Jeff. And I started he kind of taught me how to sing. Like the first song I tried to sing, like seriously, not trying to make a joke, was "Grace Is Gone" by Dave Matthews.
Nice.
Do you know that song?
I do.
Oh,
I'm a
it's
bit.
so,
I'm not ashamed to admit I'm a fan of Dave Matthews.
oh, he goes hard.
He goes hard. Jam bands, man.
Yeah, he like it's the highest level of musicianship if you go to one of his shows.
I've only seen them once, but I saw them live in St. Louis, and I mean their shows are like nonstop for like 3 hours or something.
Right, you
Which is
gotta
just
cancel your
bonkers.
plans.
And it's not like they're just up there playing cowboy chords 4/4. Like they're doing a
No,
bunch of really intricate arrangements in all of their songs.
great grooves,
Like
great solos.
Big
Yeah.
Whiskey and the Gru Grux King was actually one of the first Dave Matthews albums that I really got into.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim Reynolds
Tim
is their
Reynolds. I was just gonna say that shit was so good.
he's so good. And then after I discovered that album, I just kind of fell into a hole that is Dave Matthews. 'Cause
Right.
they've got like 40 live albums or
So
something.
prolific. I mean, he must just have a guitar on him at all times.
I can't imagine just seeing Dave Matthews just sitting at a place where he
Chilling.
can't go.
Yeah.
So
I guess you could be prolific if that like you found your thing to do. Like, okay, all it has to do is have crazy chords, have amazing lyrics, be impossible to play, and make people like bounce their head around and tap their feet, even though they have no idea what the hell's going on.
dude, I got a video on YouTube like recommended to me, and it was why are Dave Matthews songs so hard to play? And
Yeah, his
it
hands
was
are
just this
huge.
guitar player showing just like the weird chord shapes,
Right.
and like a Crash Into Me, for example, isn't
Right.
like that difficult of a song, but the fact that the guitar has this like walking bass line in it, but it's got the pedal tone at the top,
For
it's like
sure.
it's hard just keeping your hand locked in that position so perfectly for so long. But boy, howdy, does he do it.
He has crazy muscles in his hands.
He must
And
use
the
those,
muscle
like,
memory.
finger exercisers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's cool. But you've been shredding too lately. You've been working on that. I remembered when you started like picking that up, like getting into lead guitar.
Mhm.
That was cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
How's
the
that
lead
how's that coming
guitar,
along?
You can see a couple of my axes here on the wall.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
got a Kramer Beretta Danger Zone, which is an 80s hair shredder guitar, and then I've got a 1960 reissue Les Paul. But yeah, they are a couple of my fave. But
That's
I-
interesting how the neck points at you.
which one?
Isn't that different on the left?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
they're-
like kind of like a creative's guitar.
yeah, it's wild, and like with that whammy bar, I can just depress the strings all the way and make them go totally loose, and then do
Wow.
those huge dive bombs.
Like a pedal steel. Have you used it in your recordings? Or on your demos?
I mean, I have a couple that are like my SoundCloud demos.
Yeah.
But I've kind of put a hold on a bunch of the releasing of music. Like I've written a bunch, but the place that I live is not great for recording like live vocals because I've
Yeah, I
got
could
that
see
nice
that.
high ceiling, which makes it really echoey.
Good for drums.
Great. This would be great for drums. I would love to bother all of my neighbors tracking drums in here.
Hey, just get them a pizza and say it'll be done in 30 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You'll hear this take 6 times and then it'll be over.
for sure.
Yeah, but the Les Paul I have used on some more stuff, but this guitar behind my desk, this
Mhm.
gold Ibanez, I used on just about every record that I've ever put out. And I have
Cool.
a Strat copy in my bedroom it was like my first guitar ever. The whole like, I'm
Aw.
15 and I play the guitar now. The one that cost $125, you know.
Bam.
But yeah, I've got that Strat copy that was most of the early recordings. But this gold Ibanez is really the workhorse. and you can see the white pickup that is not matching the other one. I actually hot wired that in there, having no previous electrical experience.
Okay.
When I was like 15 or 16, maybe 17 at the latest, I just took my two electric guitars that I had, asked my dad for a soldering iron,
Didn't say what for.
didn't say what for, and my dad, of course, he's just like, yeah, sure, here. You know, if I had a
No, you should
16-year
ask.
old
Yeah,
that
you
was
should
like,
ask why.
yeah, he was just like, sure, it's downstairs.
Was there a game on?
Was there a game on? Probably something that was distracting him
Yeah.
from realizing what I
Okay,
was
so
going to
you did your
do.
thing in the workshop, and
Yep,
you
I just
did.
took
You
the
like,
guitars down there, cut them up, and like just was like, okay, so this wire goes here
yep.
on this one, so that means the same wire here on this one would go to that one, and I just kind of A to B'd it, and
That's great.
thank God it still works and it doesn't sound like crap.
And you feel like it has your DNA in it because
Yeah,
you gave it the Toy Story
yeah,
kid next door Sid
yeah.
treatment.
Like
I
it's
could see the
definite.
baby head sticking out of it. It was really
Yeah, it's
nice.
not actually an expensive guitar, but it's got so many like nostalgia dollars built
It's
into
you.
it.
Yeah. It's like it's something like that's just you have.
I used it on my very first album ever, which was with a band in high school called Lot 56. And
Cool.
we were an alt rock band, but we were also like prog rock. And like, I didn't realize that we were like doing mixed meters in our music.
Oh, you were like, this is the this part and this is the that part.
That's
Yeah.
literally like, and this is just how the riff goes.
Right. Did you just it's by ear
Yeah.
and
And we
feel?
didn't know better. And now looking back on it, the first song that I ever wrote was in 7/4, and then it changed to 4/4, and then it would change back to 7/4. But then the melody would have tritones in it, which for those of you who aren't music theory nerds, tritones are like no-nos.
Yeah, that's the
And
devil's harmony.
yeah, the devil's harmony. And you're a bit of a theory nerd, aren't you?
Yeah. I
So
love it.
you I assume can read music and everything now. You read sheet
Yeah,
music.
I read chord charts like jazz stuff. I'm
Gotcha.
most comfortable with that. And that kind of ties back well into how I got started was just learning from Beatles songs. And I
Mhm.
had this Beatles it's the complete Beatles songbook. It's like a cream colored textbook, which
That's cool.
I treated it as such. And it was just I called it the gig saver. You know, if I was playing
'Cause
at
it's
an
got all the
ambiance thing, it's like you cannot go wrong with these songs, and it taught me basic songwriting structure and like the different options because they never repeated much of the
right.
same song form. Got to learn like a bridge and a hook. I mean, they had their general form, but like there were always those standout
I was
songs.
thinking about that because they all of their songs sound very signature to themselves.
Yeah.
Like they're not copying the same C G E minor D
Well,
thing.
compared to music now, it's just no
Right.
question.
Right. Like what's Hard Day's Night?
Yeah.
Just like the opening chord, you hear it and immediately your brain is like, this is an interesting sound.
Right. They knew the sonic identity
Mm-hmm.
and like how to stand out, what was cool. They were willing to take a lot of risks, but it just showed me you don't have to play because I took a couple classical piano lessons. You don't have to play the exact same note every
Right.
time. That stresses me out, and I get lost in what the song is about. And I always was worried about that exchange you're having with whoever's listening, whether it's just a friend or a girl you're trying to impress. It's like they're not going to be like, "Oh my gosh, you played that perfectly." It's like,
Note
"No,
for note.
right, you nailed it and in tempo. Let's do this thing." It's like, no, the human connection is always the biggest thing, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
the Beatles crushed that in their songwriting. There was always an emotion involved, whether it was like, let's just party and twist and shout, or from Blackbird making a cultural statement. And
Right.
it's like every song has a point, and I like the hearts of their songs. So I tried to carry that over, and I started writing my own songs senior year of high school. I had only written 2 songs before going to music school.
What was your first song called?
I thought I saw you.
I thought I saw you. That sounds like an
Yeah.
yeah, an emo boy song. Like I had
I
plenty of
thought
those.
I saw you walking alone. Like little Red Hot Chili Peppers influence.
Very.
Thought I heard you hang up the phone. So pretty basic.
I think a really fun songwriting round.
Oh,
Would-
your first songs,
The first song.
but like performed better, and maybe you
perform
can,
it better.
or just the good parts,
Yeah, maybe
or just like a chorus. Yeah.
or maybe if it's 9 minutes long, maybe
Oh
just
no,
trim it down.
that was always a thing. Like I would have some songs that were too slow, and then would feel totally different, sped up
Mhm.
and more normal, more listenable. But that's how you learn.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've appreciated about your music is so much of it is just I don't want to just use the word like bop, but just kind of my head bobs along with it. I'm like, this is just it's got a good rhythm to it, and none of it makes me like mourn. Like I don't feel like depressed listening to your
Right.
stuff.
Well, I really hold back on that, and I pick my morning songs wisely. I pick my morning songs wisely. Yes. And there's one on the album called Charlotte, which my sister described it as a one-way ticket to hell. So,
Jeez,
in a good way,
it
and like
sounds like
in a self respect or like self introspective kind
okay.
of way, where it's like the feeling I'm trying to capture the feeling of loneliness, feeling misunderstood, lost, all in one story of like a breakup where it's lonely out in Charlotte. Yeah, and it has a reference to burning a joint and just kind of which is unique and takes a little bit of a risk in the setting of such a simple melody and
Hmm.
simple arrangement. But I really tried to lean into how Phoebe Bridgers made me feel, Rustin Kelly makes me feel, telling a simple story and a simple melody, but just like sends you to a place you don't want to be. To give the happy songs context is the point of it
Right.
in the album.
I think what you just said is simple. The word simple is something that I think a lot of songwriters get lost on because they want
Right.
something to be
Well, it's the truth.
deep
Whatever
and
the truth is.
metaphorical. But
Yeah.
the truth is
The
simple
truth is
sometimes.
simple.
The truth being like I'm sad or I'm lonely.
Right. And that's kind of what the Beatles were good
Hmm.
at too. If I was to use them as an example, like
There's no subtext in a lot of the Beatles songs. I mean, sure, there's tons of subtext if you pick it
there are
apart.
alliterative devices in
Yeah.
the lyrics which make the story memorable and repeatable and like give it a hooky
Hmm.
nature, which I like to have where I'll come across a phrase and be like, that kind of rolled off the tongue nicely.
Right.
And I really like words and telling stories, and that's just what songwriters are supposed to do.
That's exactly what we're supposed to do. But you also play the guitar as well, right?
Enough.
Enough.
Enough to get into a demo or shoot for a music video where it's not actually being played or listened to, but it looks right. Yeah, and I know the shapes. I have pretty small hands. I tried so hard to get into guitar, and
Hmm.
I was like, I was even asking my dad about it because I knew he's a drum prodigy, and I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, you can use cluster chords on the piano, and he like taught me some basic jazz
Hmm.
stuff where this is the 7, this is the 9. You can actually put it below. You
Right.
don't have to play at root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9. You can
Right.
do 9 or 7,
7/9 root
9,
3
3,
5.
5, or whatever extension you want to put on there. And that was like, okay, well, I don't have to have huge hands, and I stretched out my left hand just enough so I can reach an
Hmm.
octave, but I can't really reach an octave with my right
Really,
hand,
the
which
full octave.
sucked
I think I've
because
got about an octave plus one with my thumb and pinky.
jealous. Yeah, I really wish I could do that. I guess I'd have to stretch it out somehow, but I've gotten by, and my biggest piano idols are like Billy Joel, Ben Folds, and Elton John, and their parts are monstrous.
Three legends.
Yeah,
Legends.
they're monster pianists.
Ben Folds was one of the uh, pianists that really got me more into songwriting rather than just
Yeah, me too.
riff writing because up until I was in high school and college, like I was in just rock bands, played the guitar. I would write some of the lyrics, but the singer in the band wrote most of it. And then when I got into my freshman year of college, I couldn't bring my big guitar amp and everything into the dorm, but
Right.
I could have my
Notebook.
like acoustic guitars and
Oh
everything.
yeah.
And I had to take piano classes. And I was like, well, what kind of music can I do with what I do have? And that was when John Mayer and like acoustic stuff came into my guitar
Oh yeah.
playing, and Ben Folds started coming into my piano playing because Ben Folds has that song Zach and Sarah that's immediately just wow,
Yeah.
with the descending triads or something. I don't know what it is, but
Mhm.
it sounded so cool. And I was
Yeah,
like,
he uses the instrument differently.
yeah, and
He beats
it's
it
proof
up
that
too.
piano music doesn't have to be boring
Right.
because
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, is that a stereotype?
mhm,
When someone's like up there with a piano on a stage, you think to yourself they're gonna be bad at that,
you
right?
kind of do.
But I'm not bad.
No, you're not. You're entertaining. There are some of these
No, I'm
pianists when
bad.
you
I'm
watch
horrible.
them, you're just like, damn, okay, all
No,
10 of
I
those
kind of know what you
fingers.
mean. I know what you mean. Like it's really hard to listen to someone just playing
Bum,
the same shape
bum.
every time, which
Yep,
is probably why I didn't want to learn that way.
right.
Like I don't want to play it the same every time. I want to play what feels right in this moment, and I don't want that exchange between the music maker and the listener. That exchange is everything. And like a ding 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 done in the wrong way,
It
or
sounds stiff.
only out of just this is all I know. Because sometimes you want that. Like a lot of soundtracks
Mhm.
have repetitive motifs, but they meant to do that, and they could have done something different. I hate it when I'm watching a player who's like, "This is literally all I can do. Sorry," and then it's like, "You're someone's better than you. That should be there." That's I really do think that,
Yeah, those
and that's
repetitive
harsh, but like,
motifs
come
like,
on,
"You Found Me," like the Fray, that's one of
yeah,
those ones that's got the walking bass line, but the right hand, "da-na-na, da-na-na," never
right,
changes, and
right.
you're
There are a
like,
lot of easy songs to play.
it suits the song, but after 4
It
minutes of it,
fits.
you're like, "Yeah, I get it."
Right. And that stinks. You're missing out on people if you lose their attention like that. Or at least be able to provide a sense of what the groove would be like if
Mhm,
there was a full band and try to represent the song because the groove is part of the song.
right. The groove is part of the song, and that's one of the reasons why people like Elton John are so good at what they do, because thinking about, like, Benny and the Jets, like,
Yeah,
you're
it's the
immediately
best.
bum, 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 bow.
It's
Like,
my fail-safe at my ambiance gigs if I'm losing them. I'm like, "All right, time for Benny and the Jets. We're gonna get everyone tipping and singing along and back to life here." And
is it like
yeah,
your
writing a
palate
song like that.
cleanser if you need one?
It's one of them. Another one is "Walking in Memphis." People love that song.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone loves that song. Everyone thinks it's their song. It's like one of those. And "Fire and Rain." "Come Together." I always play if I only have one cover. I always play that
On the
because
keyboard, really?
yeah,
Do you have it
I know
arranged
the
specially
bass. I
for it?
have a certain arrangement that's just
Cool.
kind of like da na na like chromatic kind
Yeah,
of like shift, and it's just in D minor, and then it goes. It just gets everyone feeling good. The words are wacky.
yeah.
The lyrics are like, what's going on? And it kind of is an icebreaker because the Beatles, for music lovers, are for sure most likely to be a common denominator.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. You kinda wanna find something that even if you're playing to somebody who's, like, 70 or 20, they're
Right.
gonna know that song. They're gonna
Yeah,
know
they
the
can sing
Beatles.
along and laugh at the funny parts. Or I like to do like little solos over it
Mhm.
toward the end. And I kind of want to start doing like organ for the solos, like if I had a full band,
Cool.
um, playing out more. But it's not like something where I'm not always in the mood for something by the Beatles,
Mhm.
but it's come together. It's just like, all right, I can tap my toe for a little bit. That's pretty
Something in the way she
harmless.
moves,
Yeah,
right?
it's like something like I could be like I could see myself rolling my eyes if someone
Mhm.
started playing that at a gig because
No November Rain.
it's like not supposed to be listened to in public.
Yeah,
You
that's one of
know,
those ones. It's just like
you're
for
at
the home.
home. Yeah, you're at home. You're like with your person, just like chilling out or in a car ride. I don't even know, but not out live. People want to bob their head around.
People do we wanna have a good time.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that's hard about running rounds and going to live music so much is some of these people want to play those, like, really
Oh
slow,
yeah,
heart-wrenching songs
it's a tough sell.
and don't. Like, if the room is quiet,
You get one though.
you
You're
get
always allowed to
one.
have one, and it has to be banging.
It has to be a banger, and you can't open with it.
No, it's a 2 spot, 3 spot, depending on,
Yeah.
or you can end with it if you really want to I don't really know. We do funny songs too,
Mm-hmm.
and song order when you're trying to work in a funny song, it's usually like a flex option depending on how the room's feeling.
Right.
Because if like the room is just totally dead, then you can try to get people laughing and at least paying attention again. Or if you think someone's kind of anchoring down the sad train over there, you can always try to help out the room. And I feel like I've always tried to do that for you for rounds. Is
You've
like
always done a really
try to
good job
balance it
about
out.
that.
If it's too country grooving, then I'm like, I'll do something that's like Charlotte.
Yeah.
And I'm down to do that. And maybe I have someone come up.
Songwriting.
Yeah. If it's missing that vibe, or I try to give whatever's missing.
Now,
To be a team player.
You're one of the few artists who have been on our sold out shows at the Listening Room as well.
That was one of the best days of my life. Thank you for that.
I have the poster framed on my wall here in my hallway. But
yeah,
you made your mom cry from the stage that night.
I know, and it made me cry, and that was some bullshit.
We've got footage of that somewhere.
Yeah,
where
we do.
From the stage, you're like, I think I made my mom cry.
I was like, I'm sorry, guys. My mom's crying right now, and everyone's like, what? All these Cracker Barrel folk. Then they loved it because like, there's nothing like doing something that is your dream, like playing for a sold out crowd where they don't know who you are, but the venue is vetted out as being a great venue. And plus, Nashville Tour Stop has such a great reputation. People are going to show up. It was a busy night. I think it was like a Thursday, or it was close to a weekend.
It was a Thursday, and I think we had 277 people there that night, which is just outrageous.
I felt really in my element. I was just like, man, I finally did it. Like I had that feeling because I could tell that I was able to do my thing. Like I was able to bullshit and talk in the moment on whatever's funny. And I think I talked about fantasy baseball with someone.
I think so too.
And just like I've learned that we're all so alike, and that sharing your story and having your story heard is just a beautiful thing.
It is, and that's one of the things I would like to talk about more right after we come back on the podcast. Wow, that wasn't smooth.
Are we on a podcast?
This is a
We'll be right back.
Well, we'll come right back after a commercial break with Ryan Fine right here on the Nashville Tour Stop podcast. And we're back with the Nashville Tour Stop podcast. Ryan Fine sitting across the living room from me today.
It's true. He's wearing shorts, and I can see too much.
Yeah. I appreciate that you kind of dressed up for it. You're wearing a nice blue button-down shirt.
I'm a new man. I'm an old man now. I'm 28. So I'm looking at life differently. So I'm trying to look like Jerry Seinfeld here. I've got tennis shoes, jeans, and a button-down. That's a bit too small for me.
Just like ever so
just
slightly
enough
too
for
small.
Like, well, he's like kind of fat, but he also kind of has some muscle.
Yeah, it makes you look like you're super strong.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm already kind of locked down. I have a fiance, so I'm not really too worried about these things.
I am as single as a person could possibly be, and I'm already just like, I unironically wear my New Balances in public.
Yeah, if you dress like Jerry Seinfeld, you'll have someone like that.
Immediately, because they're like, that guy's confident in the way that he looks.
Yeah, it's like he cares, he has business to take care of, but he also unbuttons a little bit, untucks a little bit, and it's not like they're clean shoes, so he's got a little, he's down to earth, but he's the everyday Midwestern American.
Everyday Midwestern American sounds like the name of a really good folk album.
Yeah, or a type of cheeseburger.
Yeah,
like at the menu. On the menu, it's just like, you want the everyday Midwestern American, it is 3 patties, lots of cheese, bacon, and then just like tater tots mixed with French fries as a side.
And then there's a loose onion ring that just kind of found its way into the bag.
Yeah, so that's pertinent to my story and songwriting.
Yeah,
dude, let's get back to me, man. Come on.
I just had to steal the PBR can out of Phyllis's mouth because she's been tearing it apart, and she had something
It's
Looks
not
like
actually a PBR can.
it is. Oh yes, I should.
Let's clarify
I should
that.
stipulate it is not an actual PBR can. It is a stuffed PBR that says Pups Blue Ribbon
Yep.
on it. And she's really mad that I took it away from her. Like she is watching this in my hand.
She goes between that and a glass Bud Light bottle. That's broken.
Yeah, but she can
PETA.
have that back. She is a cute pup, but she's not the brightest.
What's the dumbest thing she's done to date?
Yeah. So let's talk about the new music you've got coming out,
Okay,
Ryan.
all right.
How is the new record coming? It is all said and done, and
It's all set in stone. It is coming out September 15th. It's already been out.
It's already out.
I
If
hope
you're
you've
listening
been,
to this,
yeah, I hope you've been listening. I have been, and my parents, at least. We're gonna try to rack up those numbers one way or another. And yeah, I'm really excited for this album. It's called All I Need. 4 of the songs are already out. Hang On, You Make Me Believe, Good Thing, and June.
cool.
And that's just the way I had to do it. Sorry, guys, but we're getting 6 new songs all at once in one day, so it's somewhat pretty special, bigger than
Cool.
an EP.
How many tracks is it total?
10,
10.
bare minimum, my friend.
I feel like 9 would be the barest minimum.
Yeah, if they were really good. I wanted to
10's
I wanted to show some range with this. It's like an album as an artist, but it's also an album as a songwriter. I wanted to
cool.
show some range and what full production would sound like. I did a GoFundMe to help me finish it off, to get 6 songs done, and I asked for $6,000. And it does cost more than that, surprisingly. So that was just to help me just push over the edge. I had an amazing team working on it. Justin Johnson producing. I guess I'll go through the songwriting first. I have Melissa Sheridan writing at least one song. Emma Brooke, I'm not sure if you're familiar with her. She's
Okay.
incredible. Justin Johnson, Austin Niverol, who is now crushing it as a producer and songwriter for Need a Favor by Jelly Roll. He's been just murdering it. I mean, it's like I'm in great company. And
Yeah, no kidding.
And Andy Sheridan, who is with Tape Room. I'm very familiar with Tape Room, and Ashley Gorley started this publishing company that he's like a go-to producer and writer for. And it's just nothing could go wrong. And Alan Solomon, who's at Concord producing, Joey Stamper, who's with Anthem Lights, co-producing, and I'm just like, and Brandon Ellis, who we're familiar with.
B. Brandon.
Good friends with Brandon, and he crushed the guitars on a lot of the songs.
He told me his first gig in Nashville was playing in your band.
Yeah, that was a great time.
Bus Call.
Yeah, Bus Call. Good old 4 songs. Get the heck off
I
the
was
stage.
at that set.
Yeah, that I think it was my Was it a birthday show?
Something like that.
I mean, I think you were. Yeah, you were definitely at that one. I got to do a little impromptu song at the end because I was just on another planet, just happy and to be a musician in that moment.
So let's get back to now these co-writers and producers.
Yeah, how the team formed.
The full team. So, were you tracking this at home and then sending tracks off to be pieced together? Or did you track it all at the same place?
I would just contemplate for days, weeks, and months about which songs I was willing to record, because I do write a lot, and I have a lot of different sides. In choosing the songs and writing the songs for this album, I really found my voice as an artist, because sometimes I write for other artists and I just care about writing a good song and not necessarily
what would you call
focusing
your
on my
genre of
perspective.
this album?
Power pop.
Power pop.
Power pop.
Love it.
Is how Daniel Tashian, who produced Golden Hour, described it. He said it was a power pop,
cool
classic, and I really wanted to go to the nines with the production because it seems like you have to spoon feed the labels these days on what you could be. It's like not just a good song, right? It's like, no, you have to finish it, and it already has to be successful and established brand. It's an oversaturated market, so no hate, reduce your risk all you want, but it's a little frustrating to have to put it all together, but it's a good challenge. I don't know.
Who
I have
did
mixed
the
feelings on it.
artwork for it?
The artwork was done by Jason Matheny.
Cool.
And he's based in Cincinnati and does art for Walk the Moon and Casey Musgraves.
That's sweet.
He's the
You've
best.
got a lot of good people backing on this one.
I try to keep it that way because
it's going
I want to be
debut
proud
at
of
number
it
one, isn't it?
Forever. Sorry?
It'll debut at number 1.
No. No, it's not. And maybe no one will hear it, but I do know for a fact that I'm proud of it.
That's all
and
that matters.
it conveys what I wanted to convey, which was the chapter of my life. And so I've had an album. The first one came out in 2017, also self-produced, with a lot of help, but indie, definitely DIY style. And that was about growing into independence and just that journey in your younger 20s of like, I'm gonna do something. So there were songs like Think Fast, about go, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then those were the themes throughout the album. And then Square One was the EP that followed that, which came out in 2019. And that was about dating, mostly about like heading back to square one and just some tongue in cheek about the dating scene and or loss of a relationship. Like if there was a breakup, pretend covers that. And so I was like, this next phase is about contentment and learning about what I really need, and that's why it's called All I Need. And since the Square One EP, I met my fiance Marissa, and she changed my life and showed me what was important. I proposed.
Cue sappy sound effect.
Yeah, exactly. Little piano and a picture of her zooming in. Um, no, she's amazing. She's a first grade teacher. She's just like the purest, funniest, prettiest person. Just like
How did you
it made
meet?
music seem just like
How did you
like a
two meet one
job.
another?
We met in high school. We went to different high schools, but she was in a choir, um, and we did this community summer singers thing. But we went to Slovenia, Croatia, England, Italy, and it was like
Wow.
50, 75 high school singers. She was dating someone at the time, and I was 2 years older and
Mm-hmm.
going to college like that fall. So nothing ever happened, but
Gotcha.
we had enough chemistry as friends, I guess. And then I just one day was like, "Hey," on Instagram, obviously.
You slid into her
Slid
DMs.
into her DMs. So guilty. And I'm glad I did. Um I'm not too proud to
For
say.
those of
It could be
me,
worse, right?
for those of just me listening again, it is okay to slide into the DM. Eventually, it's got to work, right?
Eventually. Yeah, she was like my 100th attempt on a person.
Yeah,
No.
this is me saying like I've slid into like thousands of girls' DMs before, which is not true. It's not thousands, but it's more than one.
It's millions. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, this was a genuine. I wrote a musical. Man, I really got to back up. I started fine tune custom songs when COVID hit, writing custom songs for any and everything. If you could write a song but you can't, then I'm your guy. Just explain what you want done, whether it's an anniversary, birthday. So I started that. Look it up on TikTok, fine tuned custom songs. But out of that came an opportunity to write a musical for this high school that I did the choir trip on, where I met Marissa.
Wow.
So that high school asked me to write a musical based on the story of Romeo and Juliet in like a power pop kind of style that I do.
Sweet.
He said do it kind of Ben Foldsy.
You wrote
And
a musical.
so
Did
I wrote
you
a
just write
musical.
the music for it, or did somebody
wrote the
write the
music,
dialogue, or was it the true
collab-
Romeo and Juliet dialogue?
It was updated dialogue from Romeo and Juliet, which is now public domain. And I wrote the music in between the songs. I met with the director about
Okay.
which scenes needed songs, what was their perspective, where were they trying to go, what is it based on in the text that I can use as lyric material, and like kind of have an idea for developing the character in my head, like the shopkeeper who sells Romeo's deathly poison. I like gave him a cool personality and like as a interesting drug dealer, and his song is called "We Got the Stuff," and I had like a lot of fun like exercising that part of the creative brain. So while I was there, I was like, maybe I could like see Marissa. I'm in the schools again. Like I'm at Sycamore pretty often. I guess we'll just go out and say which high school it was, and I was like, see what Marissa's up to, because I saw her Instagrams and it looked like she was really happy and having
Mhm.
fun. Had a good like attractive vibe going on just in general. I
Did
was
you
like,
have to kind of
we would
approach it
match
like writing a concept album? Like knowing that it all had to be
for the
like
musical. Yes.
somewhat like
Yeah.
put
I mean,
together?
I was just so excited to have the opportunity. I've always wanted to work on a musical at some point, and to get paid for it was amazing.
That's the best.
Yeah. So I did the musicals in high school.
What was the
So
musical called?
R and J.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and some of the hit songs from it are "What's in a Name," about, like, right, all the feud is about their last names, essentially,
Cool.
the only difference. Um,
Is it something you would do again?
I actually did. So, we're
Really?
doing other Shakespeare shows, and we're just about to wrap. I wrote 10 songs for Twelfth Night, so, 12 Nights in
Sweet.
Illyria, so I got to learn about that. If you don't know Twelfth Night, it is Shakespeare's play about a brother and sister lost at sea, and she does whatever it takes to find him back,
That's cool.
which is actually disguising as a boy and creating a love
Are
triangle
you trying to
within.
EGOT? You wanna get the Emmy, Grammy,
I'm trying to
Oscar,
just
Tony?
work and make music, man. And if it ends up being that way, then great. But I feel like having a production company specializing in Shakespeare shows reimagined for high schoolers, probably a good
Are you a big fan of
investment of
Shakespeare's
time.
work just
Oh yeah.
independently?
Well, weirdly enough, my uncle has convinced the entire family that we are loosely related to him.
Really?
William Shakespeare, uh, we are related by marriage to his sister.
Interesting. Well, you heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. Yeah, so it does kind of it's nothing like obviously not bragging about it, and it probably is not even true, but it did change my perspective in this project of I wanna do this right, just in case.
Ju
We are
just
related,
in case.
and he's a ghost in the room. He's like, "Dude, do not mess up my stuff." Um, but I had a great time writing this show as well, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy talking about all these things with you that you probably never even knew, but
I had no
I've
idea.
grown a lot behind closed doors. Yeah,
This
there's
is
a
one
lot
of the
going on
things
in
I
the
was
work.
telling you before we started recording, why I love doing the podcast is because it gives me an honest excuse to get to know my friends deeper.
Yeah, so that show's gonna happen in November. Come on out to Cincinnati, Ohio, Sycamore High School if you're out there listening. Yeah, that's where the show's gonna happen, and it's hilarious. It's a comedy, not a tragedy like Romeo and Juliet. So I got to flex that muscle a bit with
Mhm.
some one-liners or whatever comedic effect.
Can't wait to see you on Broadway.
We'll see.
And not dirty Broadway, Nashville.
No, that would be
Fancy
bad.
Broadway, New York.
That would be special. No, I want to make a good, honest living. I
And I think that what you just said is correct. Just making a good, honest living. There's no like. Sure, you would like to be the
I'm not
star.
gonna get greedy.
Yeah,
I'm sick
but
of that
I
effort.
think one of the things that's hard for I don't want to say people like us, but for the lack of a better term, people like us setting like realistic goals that don't disappoint you.
Right, I want to do this, but you have to do that and that first.
Yeah,
And understanding and being humble, like, do I deserve that now, or what do I need to work on to get that?
right.
And just kind of putting the pressure on you is the best advice to give.
That's absolutely, because there's some of these kids who move here, stars in their eyes, and they're
Yeah. Why am
18
I
years
not famous
old,
yet? Like,
and they're like,
why should you be?
yeah, they're like, I'll be signed to Big Machine, opening for Taylor Swift next year, and then next year happens, and you're still working at Starbucks. I'm like, yeah, that's fine,
Having written only 5 songs,
right?
like,
One of
no,
which is good.
if you want to make it, you have to make it yourself.
Yeah,
No one's waiting to help you.
yeah. No, like no exciting documentary starts in the stadium. All of
Right.
the coolest biopics are all about the story of getting to the stadium.
Yeah, it's the
And
American dream.
it's the American
It's the
dream.
pursuit of
Success.
happiness. Yeah.
Pulling yourself up by your bootstraps or whatever you want to call it. It's just more exciting to finally feel like you earned the success.
Yeah, and you probably had that feeling when did that hit for you with booking in Nashville Tour Stop?
With Tour Stop, it really started, I believe,
'Cause it's really
probably.
crazy. So you should be super proud.
So it was probably around like the fall of 2020 when we were doing these showcases at Alley Tap. And that was back when the show went from like 6 to midnight, or sometimes we'd go to 1, or if we just ran long. But it was the first time when I felt like people actually wanted to come to Tour Stop
Yeah.
and weren't just like being there because like their friends are playing.
They were fans of the show that you put on.
Yeah, they didn't know who I was. And people just knew like
Cool.
Thursday Tour Stop is like that's where you go. Like around that time was the first time I learned places like CAA were sending scouts to my show.
Wow.
Yeah, so like I know that's happening, And
That's amazing.
that was really it, because I was like, okay, so this is on someone's map.
It's legit.
This is on someone's
No, it's
radar.
legit. Rick.
And that's why I try to keep like a level head about it, because obviously big record labels or big talent agencies aren't going to be at every show.
They can't be.
But yeah, we can't be at every show our friends are putting on.
And they don't want to hear the covers, and that's your freaking mantra, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's play original music, and they know what it sounds like to do a cover. They already know.
They know.
They want to know new stories, find new people. Believe it or not, they're still A&R.
We all want to have our next new favorite song.
Yeah.
And that was really when I started feeling like I was doing something worth it.
Yeah.
Because not that the shows I was doing at Belcourt before weren't like cool or fun, but it was more localized to like my close group of friends. And the Alley Tap shows were when I started meeting people who didn't know that I was the person in charge. And that was cool, because it was like 5 people maybe, but it made me feel like, all right, this is growing slowly.
Yes.
And I think that's how, like, whether it be in like an artist career or a entrepreneur's career, like it's skyrocketing to fame is not a realistic and not sustainable.
You don't want it that way. Because then it might be something you can't handle.
Yeah, and that's one reason why I'm really glad with the slow growth trajectory I've seen Tour Stop experienced over the last few years, is because I have been able to grow to learn how to manage more at the same time, instead of just being thrown to the wolves, which if I had to do everything that I do now 4 years ago, I wouldn't have known what to do.
Man. Yeah, you just gotta live it to learn it.
Live and learn it.
I mean,
It's a cliche, but it's totally true.
You just have to do it, and you're gonna fail, and that's fine.
So when did you start feeling like songwriting was a viable career option rather than just a hobby?
I knew there was always money in it. I think that was like,
Was that something
when I
you
was
got from
learning
your dad?
about. No, I think it was something I learned in music school. It was like, oh, if you want to make money, if you don't want to just play cello in an orchestra, if you want to like do this to make money, well, my degree was in commercial music production and
Cool.
entrepreneurship as a minor, and I was like, kind of do want to make money a little bit. Is that okay? Everyone was like, songwriting. They get the royalties. There's at least intellectual property that carries over more than a one night show. So I knew that it was worth investing time into learning, with all with knowing that it does make money eventually. But I don't really know if I've quite found that it does make me money in a sustainable way. I did have a really good run with custom songs, writing birthday or anniversary songs for people, but my songwriting career is still just beginning. I mean, I'm working on a lot of songs with Anthem Lights, a Christian boy band, if you will. They're a vocal group with amazing arrangements. Some of the most talented singers I've ever met. It's kind of crazy to hear in person that it's real, but they're called Anthem Lights. They have a pretty good following, like 2 million or so monthly listeners on Spotify.
That's huge.
And
pretty good.
I've got 8 to 10 songs on their next album that should be coming out.
That's incredible.
Upcoming January.
Did you co-write or produce those songs?
Co-wrote. Yeah. And we really wanted to make Christianity or whatever because they are a Christian band, but my goal with them was to make the songs accessible and
not
to make the Christian
too overtly religious, perhaps.
Right. Well, just the parts that, I mean, everyone's trying to be free from anxiety, and I have found a lot of peace with my spirituality, and just it was a really cool opportunity to put into words, because I take songwriting so seriously. I wanted to convey my spiritual relationship in the songwriting so people can relate to it, or at least hear how it sounds coming from someone who is pretty no bullshit. Like, I'm not going to just do something. Like, I'm really independent with my faith. I'm not just Christian because my parents, or my dad's Jewish. My mom's Catholic and I'm confirmed Catholic, but like, I believe in God because I believe God.
Right.
Like I have my own relationship with God
Does
that I'm
spirituality influence your like power pop music, or is that just
a
part
little
of
bit.
the songwriting thing that you focused in on
No,
this one act?
I think I think my music is more about the worldly experience.
Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of this album in particular, All I Need was very romantic and an homage to and an ode to just getting engaged and feeling happier just being with someone as opposed to achieving a thing in music or just
Mhm.
having quote unquote success, but just having comfort and feeling understood and um yeah, I mean it's a lot of intense, mature
So how did you get
theme.
connected with this, act that you were having the songs cut with?
So John Bostwick, who plays drums for Parker McCollum, we went to school together and he played drums for Anthem Lights while we were in
Cool.
college in Cincinnati, and he introduced me to Joey Stamper, who does a lot of the arranging and songwriting for Anthem Lights because he knows that I like to do
Mhm.
songwriting and arranging. So we just started out hanging out as friends, getting to know each other, writing. We released Piano Man together, and then we wrote a song. Our first song we wrote together was "Hang On," which is on the album, so he's featured on it. And I thought that turned out great. We were able to connect pretty deeply and quickly, like just we're both
Cool.
open books and think similarly. It was like we have that back and forth where it's like we challenge each other.
It's
I
good.
my best writing is with him because I know he's a better writer than me.
I've heard it many times on the show before where people choose to keep writing with the same people who are better than them because it forces you to step up.
Oh yeah, I'm like coming up with things that it feels like when I first started because like I was just trying to make a song that made sense, and
Mhm.
like now I'm trying to make a song that can win a Dove Award. Like
Right.
I really think that this album can do that for them. Uh, they've crushed it in the cover space, but never had that like what do you want to use your platform for?
Right.
Like, how do you
Is
want to
the
affect people that
is
can become Christians, not just feed already existing Christians just the same, not necessarily garbage, but overused themes? And like,
Right.
it's not accessible to everyone when you say some name from the Old Testament. Like, some people just need someone to say it's going to be okay because the Lord loves you.
Mhm. There's a I grew up in the church doing I was, like, in the bands and everything. I did choir. My dad was the music pastor and everything, and I grew up all around that, and it does I don't wanna say homogenize, but a lot of it does start to feel the same,
Yeah,
and it's nice that you can bring, shall I say, a secular approach to it, even though
it
you're
is. It
not
is a
secular,
secular approach because
you
it's
can just
focusing on
add
it.
more experience to it.
It's focusing on anxiety.
Right.
It's focusing on how you can have peace with God. And this is how it looks like in a fun way. Like
Mhm.
you can dance, you can be happy, you can be jolly. These are all options. If
Right.
like
It's not a cut and dry step A, B, C, period.
right, it's not like I'm gonna make you feel bad and guilt you into being a Christian. It's check it out. It's fun.
Right.
Like just check it out because and I guess with my song Good Thing, that is more philosophical than spiritual,
Mhm.
where it's like just have a positive mindset. It's going to be okay. It could be worse. It could be better. Don't focus on that fact that it could be better
I
because
like that.
it could be worse. And let's just focus on that and be your best self today. Do whatever you need to do or pivot however you need to, but just having some faith and offering God as an option for people to who feel helpless. Like I think that's a good message.
Right. So, with this album now that you're putting out, All I Need, what are some of the what's like I don't want to say trajectory. What would you like to see happen with this album? Would you like to be the foundation of the power pop artist Ryan Fine, or are you trying to would you like to like see if this fits your genre as an artist and then maybe
Yeah.
change if it doesn't?
Yeah, I think it was a creative process for me that helped me find my voice as like this could be me as an artist.
Mhm.
Like borderline yacht rock, melody heavy, harmony heavy, hook oriented, just like kind of nice. and I wanted it to fit in sync. So I'd love to get some syncs from it, TV and film, like some love scenes, not love scenes, but scenes in movies that are focused on love and finding your person. I think that would be amazing. But really, I'm already happy with it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I know how fickle this industry is, and I know it could take a long time, if not, it just never happen. And that's daunting. But if you accept that, then it does allow you to make the music you want to make. It's just like
That's
if it's a long shot, anyways, might as well just make it the way I want it.
that's one of the things that I've kind of come to peace with, shall I say, like with Tour Stop, because I originally moved here to be a songwriter and playing in bands and playing shows all the time and putting out
Yeah,
records. Like that's what I wanted to do. But I love what I do now,
right,
and I've kind of grown through the like identity crisis, so to speak, of this is what I came to do
right.
versus this is what I'm doing now. And that like middle ground is the rocky territory between both, where you don't want to start the new thing because you don't want to give up the old thing, but the old thing isn't bringing you the joy that it used to. And the new thing
Uh,
is, so you're kind of stonewalled
frustrating.
between both places. And then I don't know what point it was when I just decided, you know what, like it's okay that that's what I came here to do, and it's not what I'm doing now.
Right,
Like, isn't
right.
there an old saying, you can make plans and God laugh?
Yeah. Man plans, God laughs. Oh man. Yeah, you get in, but who are you really disappointing though?
Who was I what?
Like who could you really be disappointing?
Oh,
It's
nobody.
just you.
Exactly.
So you can either
I'm
choose
disappointing the 17-year-old in me who wanted
right,
to be a rock star.
but they didn't know life yet.
That, oh God, I thought I did.
I know, me too. And I
All
think it's
17-year-olds think
okay.
they know what's going on.
It's okay to change your mind as long as you're being yourself.
Yeah, I have really come to be much more what I would consider like an honest representation of my personality now. Like, the person I am when I'm at my shows is I feel like exactly who I am. I love
Yeah, you
talking
can
to my
just be
friends.
free.
I'm free, exactly. Because when I moved here, I tried to be cool. I tried to be relevant, yada, yada, yada. And now that I'm not trying to do that, I feel so much more like peaceful,
Yeah,
not trying
and
to impress people by like, I'm wearing these expensive shoes. Like, I wear my New Balances because they help my feet not hurt. And there's
right, and
nothing
if
more
you're more
human than
comfortable
that.
there, then you're more you, and the more you are, the better chance you have.
Right. I forget who it was I was talking with on the podcast a couple of weeks ago about dating and why, like, I personally am more of a homebody right now at this point in my life. I'm
Yeah,
almost 30,
me too.
and Friday nights, I love to order Chinese takeout,
Mm,
sit on my couch with my dog, and watch TV.
let's go.
It's a great Friday night. And some of these people are like, oh, well, you should be going out to like bars and trying to meet girls. And I'm like, the girl that I probably want to be with
Right,
is
isn't there?
probably also at home with her dog eating Chinese
Or
food.
she's with her extroverted friend who doesn't
Yeah,
want to be there, and they have something to talk about.
that's really the only thing I have to look for is just like maybe
An
the
off
friend
chance
got them
thing.
out.
Yeah, like yeah, I can't. Yeah, I had this funny song. I write these funny songs for my high school friends. It's called "Bank on a Transfer." It's like no one's gonna go to homecoming with me, and I can't bank on a transfer student.
I've
Like
never heard this song.
no, it's very weird.
So you write funny stuff.
I love it. I love comedy. It's better than real conversations. When's the last time you had a real conversation? That
Hmm.
sucked, didn't it?
So what are some of the other funny songs you've put out, or
I
maybe not
plan
even put
on
out, but
I
have
plan
written
on potentially putting out funny songs. Um, as you can hear, I'm pretty busy with writing.
for the next project?
I know. It's like, oh my gosh, I already have this album, the Anthem Lights album, another musical. It's like
4 projects from now.
I'm thinking ahead. But I do have a song called "I Really Hate John Mayer," and it's
I think I've
very
actually
on the
heard
nose.
that.
Yeah, you've heard that one. I've been playing that one out
I'm
more
pretty sure I
recently.
heard you play that at Belcourt.
Am I cool to play that this week?
Sure,
All right, let's
you can
do it.
play that.
I'll read the room, but it seems like that could be fun. I'm still testing out songs to record. That's one way I like to test it out is at writers rounds and just get some feedback from people.
I love writing funny.
Yeah. So I really hate John Mayer. I have a song called Mr. Lawnmower Man,
Mr. Lawnmower
which is like
Man.
kind of like for kids, but it's still funny.
Okay.
About like I was just walking past, saw my lawnmower buzzing that grass, green with big yellow wheels, the kind that give me chills. Hey there, Mr. Lawnmower Man. Just asking the lawnmower person to just watch them mow the lawn, and it's written for a kid I used to babysit who was obsessed with
Nice.
lawnmowers, and it's like he learned it on guitar, and it's just
I
like
love that.
it's like this little inside joke I have. But it that and the Tinder song, Match Me with Someone Who's Horny.
I forgot about the
Yeah,
Tinder song.
Tinder song, Match Me with Someone Who's
My
Horny.
God.
First line in the chorus.
I send my funny song ideas to my funny co-writer Coley Kohler all the time.
Shout out.
And shout out Coley Kohler. The most recent song idea I sent to her is I wanted to do a parody of Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, but I want it to be about
Right.
I want it to be about a guy who's only 5'9". He's
I'm
just
only 5'9",
and it's about a girl who doesn't
standing
want to date him
on a
because he's too short.
pedestal,
Yes, exactly.
waiting for some dime.
Yep. Because I just love comedy like that.
Yeah, it's so engaging, and it's like not done enough, honestly.
I did a parody of a Harry Styles song, Watermelon Sugar.
Okay, what'd you do?
Except I wrote it about wanting to eat pie. I want to eat a lot of pie.
I want to eat a lot of pie.
pie.
What kind of pie?
I think it starts with tastes like strawberry on a summer evening, even when it's warm. I like mulberry. Something like I just went through a bunch of different kinds of pie.
Yeah.
And it was so stupid.
Right.
And I love just it's
Good.
like it's outrageous comedy. That's like what Weird Al does. Like he wrote a song about how much he loved his pancreas. Like it's dumb.
Yeah, he is one
King
of a
of
kind.
stupid.
King of stupid. I feel like
But I want to release a comedy album myself of all of the comedy country music I've written.
yeah, what are some of your titles?
The Third Wheel in My Threesome.
The Third Wheel in My Threesome.
How to
Wow.
Write a Country Song.
Chuck classic.
Dad Bod. That's you know that one.
I know Dad Bod.
There's another one called Getting Off Early. Like
Oh boy.
yeah, Harassment.
Oh my gosh, you need Jesus.
Yeah.
No.
Some of these
all
songs
games. We can exist in
talk about having to read the room.
no, like that's like it would kill though if you have the right audience and you're like, ooh, I've got that in the back pocket. Like they're gonna love that. So I did miss Flamingo Shirt,
Mhm.
which is about doing work in my flamingo shirt. It's like Lonely Island, just like ridiculously dorky, but being perceived as confident.
What made you want to start writing funny stuff?
Funny stuff. Ben Folds. Ben Folds is
Folds?
hilarious. His songs are hilarious. He did that cover of Bitches Ain't Shit, which is now taken
Mhm.
down because it should have been for someone said the N-word in it.
Did you used
which
to
is not
watch his
cool.
chat roulettes?
Yeah, that was funny.
Like the
That's funny. I tried to do that. I went on Omegle
Did you really?
and I tried to be like, all right, let me just make up a song.
And it's really hard.
It's hard because they're like kids, and you're like, this is inappropriate. Like this is what kids do. Like I need to get off here.
Can you do stuff like that on TikTok? Like going live?
Oh, true. I did see this one freestyle rapper who was like, I do freestyle raps. Go on my live right now to prove it, and he's always on live,
That's cool.
and he just like says something about your username or whatever you say, but like that's not really.
I feel
That's
like
not a career.
You'd be really good at writing, like improving songs, like you did at your show at Teen Roof.
I did do that
That would be if you ever did like a long part, like a full hour show
with
or
the band.
something.
Yeah,
I feel like that could be a song of it because it makes it
Right.
more interactive
Improv
and
night.
engaging.
it's tough though to pull off. You can't like
Because sometimes it's great and sometimes it's bad.
you might miss, but if you got a good band and you're feeling good, then it should be all right. I also have that song "Psycho Boyfriend."
Don't think I've heard that one.
I could be a psycho, your psycho boyfriend. I think you have. It might not be that good. That's why it's good to do writers rounds. Test the audience.
We'll write some funnies together. I
No,
promise you.
it's a funny song. It's like when you came out, so everyone was like, "It's like you," and I was like, "You're not unique." Everyone says that. Just kidding. I
I
say
had
thank you.
I had another terrible funny song idea that I texted Coley. Do you know the Tommy Two Tone song Jenny Jenny 867
Yeah, of
530?
course.
I wanted to do a song that was for all of the 14-year-old boy that I still am. And you
Oh
know how,
man, I
like,
should go then.
yeah, you turn the calculator upside down, it says 8008135.
Boobies.
Booby. It's like, it's so stupid. But I want to do dumb, funny stuff like that
Wouldn't
because,
it be the other way around? 51E
but you type it, yeah,
5138008
5138008.
upside down and you no.
Yeah,
That was bleep. Just
doing
kidding.
stuff like that. It was a bigger part of my like 2020 writing style because like I look back at it now and it feels like the funny stuff was uh what's the word? Like a defense mechanism, what was happening in the world.
Yeah, the world needed it.
Yeah.
So I did feel weird about even making funny like sketches
Mm-hmm.
online. Like, what am I gonna do though? Right?
Right. What there was literally
Like,
nothing else
can't
to
we
do.
agree that I'm not gonna do anything to help the situation and that I can maybe make someone laugh?
Yeah, if I can ease the tension for 5 minutes.
I mean, some of the best comedies in the world were written during wars. Like,
Yeah. Like
that's
we
fine.
we're trying to
Let us make
figure out how
stuff.
to navigate a tragedy.
Let us make stuff.
Well, Ryan, thank you for coming on the pod today.
Of course.
Tell us
Thanks
some
for
of your
having me.
favorite things about Nashville that aren't necessarily music. Like, what are some of
Yeah.
the places that you, as the person, like to go and not just use the artist?
Yes. I love going to Portland Brew for coffee in the morning and to work on lyrics. I love golfing here. Ted Rhodes and McCabe. What up, y'all? I'm a frequenter there. They know my member number,
Nice.
which makes me feel important.
Which Portland brew are you going to?
12 South.
12 South.
There's
That's
one in
one of my
East.
faves
Yeah.
too.
12 South. Good deal. Good ambiance. It's a little loud if you have a meeting or whatever, just so you know. But yeah, we got the regular suspects there. Kind of fun to like go somewhere that you know people on any given day. And then I really love Joey's House of Pizza. Rest in peace. Rest in pizza. You guys were amazing. They retired their business, but now they're doing catering. But that was a staple for me in Nashville. And I really love going to Zany's on 8th Avenue. I love 8th
I'm
Avenue
a
and 12th.
big comedy dude.
Yeah, I've seen you at Zany's before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Nate Bargatze
we saw
actually
Sam
just
Morrill.
Are you familiar with Nate Bargatze?
Yeah, of course.
He just
Nate
performed.
Bargatze.
He performed at the Oak Room, this new venue that we have at the Nelson's Greenbrier
Oh, that
Distillery.
we're playing this week?
He
Yeah.
performed at the Oak Room last night, like a private under the cover
Let's
show.
go. He's hilarious. And he's really clean.
He's so funny.
Yeah.
He is the whatever it is, regular, everyday American Midwestern guy.
He's the everyday Midwestern American guy.
Yes, he is that guy.
He's like, so I have these problems with my body because I eat fun food. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm a Midwestern
Like,
everyday
yes,
American.
that's me.
Yeah, I know what you mean because those chicken nuggets are on my plate.
I had an idea for a comedy bit that I really wanted to go for, but I'm not like a stand-up guy. But the whole premise of what I would just want the routine to be about is it would start with saying something like, you know, those are changing body videos that they show you when you're 14.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then
go
everyone
ahead.
immediately goes, ugh. And then I want to say, I need one of those, but it's our changing body when you turn 30. Because
Okay,
like,
that's hilarious.
there's something happening to me right now
Yeah,
where I'm just like, why all of a sudden does
I
like
know.
my knee hurt? I didn't do anything to hurt it.
Just happens
It just-
unprotected.
I went to a chiropractor not too long ago because I was having back pain. And I asked, hey, doc, what can I do to like mitigate the back pain? And he goes, oh, no, that's just like part of your life now. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
sounds like he didn't know anything about being a chiropractor, who are notorious for being malpractice users.
Sounds like I might not have been going to a good
you're-
chiropractor.
Yeah, you can go to a different one. You can go to a real one.
Yeah, because he did like stretch me and like pop my back and everything. But I was like, so is it gonna come back to hurt? Probably.
I would try somewhere else, or after we hang up, I can give it a go.
Well, Ryan, thank you for coming on the pod. Will you give us
You
your
got
plug?
it.
Tell folks where they can find you online.
Absolutely. Yeah, look up Ryan Fine, RyanFine, or check out my custom songwriting business, fine-tuned custom songs. And we have a good time. I love doing whatever kind of song. I'll swear in it, whatever you want, as if you were doing it yourself. I'm your man, not corporate like some of my competitors are. And check out the album All I Need. Check out Anthem Lights. They're awesome. Definitely check out their next album and maybe their next Christmas single.
We'll have all of Ryan's links in the caption or the whatever you call it, episode link description. We'll be having all of your info.
Cool. Well, thanks for having me, Aaron.
Ryan, thank you for coming on today. Everybody, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Nashville Tour Stop podcast. If you would like to follow us on our social medias, you can do so at Nashville Tour Stop. If you'd like to check us out on the web, you can find our full live event calendar at NashvilleTourStop.com. You can come watch Ryan Fine play. He's been known to play Tour Stop every now and then. He sold out one at the listening room. I think we should do another.
Have an amazing day, you average
everyday
American Midwestern Americans. Yeehaw.
Y'all, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week for more on the Nashville Tour Stop podcast.